So what's the difference between the TOTO Washlet S7A and the TOTO Washlet S5? Today, we're going to go over those differences so that you can determine what's the best fit for you. I'm Sam with Mini Bidets, where you can get expert advice on all things bidets. There are four main differences between these seats. And generally, the S7A is better in all of those categories. But how big of a deal are they? Well, let's get to them. Starting off with the height. S7A, a shorter seat, slimmer profile. S5, taller at about 5¼ inches tall versus the 4 of the S7A. Slightly taller seat as well. Seated about 1¼ inch versus about 7/8. Not a big difference, just slightly taller, slightly bulkier with the S5. The seats, while we're talking about them, have a slightly different occupation sensor. There's a skin sensor on the S7A that determines if someone's seated on it. It detects right in this area here. The S5 is a weight-based occupation sensor, clicking back here. What's different? Why would you want one over the other? Well, the downside of the clicking sensor is it requires different size feet in the front of the seat so that when you sit down, the seat drops on that side to let it know someone's seated there. If you don't mind that, it's not a big difference, but for some people, that can be a big deal. Now, the area you can sit on the seat on the S5 is slightly less than the S7 because of the taller back. That just pushes you slightly further forward, giving you a little bit less comfort. TOTO isn't known for being super comfortable. They're known for great washes and great quality, but maybe slightly less comfortable on the S5. The S7A comes with auto opening. You can have that motion detected auto opening or with the press of a button from the remote control. It comes in an S7 option that does not have the auto open functions if that's something you're not interested in and you love everything else about the S7A. The nozzles on these two seats are also slightly different. On the S7A, you've got a telescoping nozzle that reaches a little bit further forward. On the S5, you've got a one-piece nozzle that has a pre-mister on the bottom of it. If you look at the bottom side of the seat, you're going to see that the S7A is enclosed, the nozzle there is enclosed, and on the S5, it's open so that the pre-mist can get to the bowl. That also leaves the bottom of the nozzle exposed to debris. So I do think the S7A is much better in that way. These seats have slightly different washes as well. The S7A has 4 different washes: a rear wash, a front wash, a wide or soft rear wash, and a wide or soft front wash. The S5 has a rear wash, a front wash, and a soft rear wash, not a wide, and no soft wide front wash. So there's less options on the S5. It has a pretty good range, but not what the S7A has. Is it significant to you? Do you need a really, really soft wash? If so, the S7A is a better option, but you may find that the soft wash on the S5 is really great and gets as soft as you need. These seats also have different remote controls. While they're very similar in their layout and almost all the same buttons in the same locations, the texture is slightly different. The S5 here on top is a matte finish. There's a gloss finish on the S7A remote. The buttons are also more distinct on the S7A. They're separate pieces and raised chrome buttons along the bottom. On the S5, there's no separation of the buttons, so it's a little hard to tell where they start and where they end. You'll also notice there's a deodorizer button on the S7A remote. There's none on the S5 remote. That means you have to go into program to turn it on or off. You can't just press the button to turn it on or off easily while using the unit. So I do like having that option. You also can see the infrared transmitter on the front of the S7A remote, and they both have them on the top. So 2 places for signal transmission on the S7A and only 1 on the S5. That means you're going to get signal to your seat easier on the S7A, and you may have it miss a few times with this S5 remote control. On the back, you'll find that they're very, very similar. There's only 1 button that is on the S7A that is not on the S5. And that button doesn't actually even do anything for the S7A. You'll find that there's a number of buttons on these remotes that do not do any functions at all. You do use the back of these remote controls for programming the seats. So we'll be doing some videos on how to program a lot of different functions on these seats. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see those. A couple bonus minor things. Night lights. There's one night light in the bowl on the S5. There's a night light in the bowl and on the side of the seat of the S7A. Both of these bidets have deodorizers that can be accessed on the side. Slightly different, but there's no significant benefit to one or the other. So the S7A is better than the S5 in most of the ways that they are different from each other. But is it worth the greater price? That's only for you to decide. They are both made by TOTO, a fantastic brand that makes quality products. If you want to buy one of these, reach out. If you have more questions, reach out. We have customer service that is there to help you. Live chat, phone, or text.
MiniBidets.com, where we sell mini bidets, not mini bidets.
So now you know the differences between the Washlet S5 and S7A. Are the benefits of the S7A worth it for you? Now you know what you need to know to make the decision that you need to make, because you need to make a decision before you purchase, because that's how purchasing decisions work. I got you.